Sripad Rajam Sharanam Prapadhe. Sripad Shrivallabha Charitamrutam, a divine biography of Sripad Shrivallabha. Chapter 1. Account of the encounter between Shankara Bhatt, author of the Charitamruta, and Vyaaghreswara Sarma. After offering salutations to Sri Mahaganadhipati, Sri Mahasaraswati, lineage of my preceptors, I propose to describe the glory of Sri Sripad Shrivallabha, the new advent of Lord Datta. Sri Dattatreya is a very ancient yet always new. Sri Dattatreya has incarnated in this Kali Yuga in Pithapuram, situated in the Godavari region of Andhra Pradesh, as Sripada Shrivallabha. It is impossible, even for very great scholars, to describe the grandeur of his divine play. I am completely an ignorant and illiterate one. Therefore, I submit this in all humility to all people that my attempt to portray his life history is only on account of his will, divine order, and his divine blessings. My name is Shankara Bhatt. I belong to Karnataka Desha. I am from Smartha sect and hail from Bharadwaj Gotra. I went to the holy town Udupi to visit Bhagwan Sri Krishna. There, the infant Krishna, with a peacock feather of beautiful colors adorning his head, gave me his darshan. He ordered me to visit goddess Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari in Kanyakumari. I visited goddess Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari in Kanyakumari. I took holy bath in the confluence of three oceans. One Tuesday, I entered the temple to see the goddess. The priest was performing the worship of the deity very sincerely. He took the red-colored flowers from my hand and began to worship her. At that time, the mother saw me with her benevolent looks and said, "Shankara, I am pleased with the sacred devotion in your heart. You go to Kuravpuram and take the darshan of Sripad Shrivallabha and obtain fulfillment of your birth. By the mere darshan of Sripad Shrivallabha, an undefinable experience will accrue to your mind, Atma, and all your organs." I received the grace of Mother Goddess and started from that holy place. On my way, I reached a village called Maruttwamalai, which was at a short distance. I learned that while Hanuman was carrying the Sanjeevani mountain from Himalayas, a small piece of it had fallen down. It is called Maruttwamalai. The hill in the village Maruttwamalai is beautiful to behold. There are some caves in it. I learned that the area is a hilly tract inhabited by Siddha Purushas, undertaking penance in an invisible form. I was looking into the caves with the hope of seeing any great person in case I was lucky enough to see any one of them. However, at the entrance of one cave, a tiger was standing. At that sight, trembling and tremor started in all my limbs. Agitated with great fear, I cried aloud at once, "Sripada Shrivallabha Dattaprabhu." The tiger stood like a domestic animal. An aged sage emerged from the cave. The entire area of Maruttwamalai reverberated with the name of Sripada Shrivallabha all at once. Then the old sage said, "My son, you are a fulfilled one. Only great siddhas, great yogis, wise men, paramahansas who dwell in nirvikalpa samadhi realize that Lord Datta has incarnated as Sripad Shrivallabha in this Kali Yuga. Only because you are lucky you could come here. This is a land of spiritual pursuit. It is Siddha Bhumi. Your desire gets satisfied. You will be certainly rewarded with the meeting of Sripada. The tiger at the entrance of the cave is a jnani. You salute him. Then I saluted the wise person who was in the form of a tiger. Immediately the tiger roared the sound of Om. The whole Marutva Malai resounded with that roaring sound. It had also sung melodiously the prayer Sripad Rajam Sharanam Prapatte. I was watching this wonderful scene. All the atoms in the form of the tiger disintegrated, and a man with a lustrous celestial body manifested there. That celestial person paid obeisance to the old sage and flew in the path of the sky with his luminous body. The old sage who was before me smiled. He invited me into the cave. I entered the cave silently. Stream of compassion was flowing from the eyes of the aged sage. He created fire by the power of his will. He created sacred materials, some sweets and fruits, for offering them as an oblation to the sacred fire. He consigned those things into the sacred fire while chanting Vedic hymns. The aged sage observed, all righteous rituals like yajna and yaga are getting extinct in the world. Man who is benefited from the five elements is forgetting the deity who is the embodiment of the five elements. Yajnas are to be performed for the gratification of the deities. Deities get gratified from the sacrifices. Nature becomes favorable because of their grace. Man cannot survive when any force in the nature turns virulent. Calamities occur if the forces of nature are not appeased. If man departs from the righteous path, dangerous developments are caused by the forces of nature. I performed this sacrifice for the welfare of the world. Yajna means fusion. Fortunately, you have witnessed this sacrifice. As a result of this sacrifice, you will get the darshan of Sripad Shrivallabha, who is an incarnation of Sri Datta. This is very rare fortune. The merit earned in many births will suddenly fructify and give such unattainable fortune. I saluted that great personage and said, Great one among Siddhas. I am not a scholar or a yogi. I am not a devotee. I am an ignorant one. Kindly take complete mercy on me and clear some of my doubts. The old hermit agreed to it. Then I prayed, O great Siddha, when I visited Goddess Mother Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari, she directed me to go to Kuravpuram for the darshan of Sripada Shrivallabha. Here I saw you and the great one in the form of a tiger. Anyway, who is that great person in the guise of a tiger? Who really is Sripada Shrivallabha? Kindly reply to my doubts and favor me. That aged sage began his narration. My son, in the Godavari region of Andhra Pradesh, there is a village called Atreyapuram, which was famous as a land where austerities were conducted by sage Atri. In that village, a Brahmin was born in the Gotra of Kashyapa in an orthodox family. His parents named him Vyaaghreswara Sarma. Even though his father was a great scholar, the son became an incorrigible idiot. In spite of educational training for a long time, he could not perform even the Gayatri mantra at the prescribed times of the day. He was only uttering words in Sanskrit to the effect that he was Vyaaghreswara Sarma who was saluting. He became disturbed at the taunting words of others. The ill treatment of his parents had also increased. He heard that great ascetics live in Himalayas, and by their grace one can realize the knowledge of self. He was not called for any auspicious functions. He was only asked to accept gift or of gingly seeds or attend anniversary ceremonies of death in case of extreme emergencies when no one else was available. These acts are considered very mean. So a feeling of inferiority complex developed in him. Once, during dawn, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw a celestial body radiating with divine effulgence. That body was descending to the earth from the firmament. As soon as his divine feet touched, the earth was filled with heavy illumination. That divine child approached Vyaaghreswara Sarma with slow steps and asserted, "Why fear when I am here? There is a bondage of death between me and this village. Without the bondage of indebtedness, even a dog cannot come to us. You go to the Badrikaranya in the Himalayan region. You will be blessed with auspiciousness." Saying so, the celestial disappeared. Vyaaghreswara Sarma reached Badrikaranya. He was getting meals on the way without much effort. However, a dog was following him from the beginning of the journey. He was wandering along with the dog in the Badrikaranya. In his wanderings, he took holy bath in the Urvashi Kunda. The dog also took holy baths along with him. At that time, a great person, accompanied by his disciples, came to Urvashi Kunda for religious ablutions. Vyaaghreswara prostrated at the feet of the great personage and prayed to accept him as a disciple. The great person had kindly consented. The dog disappeared immediately when the great one accepted Vyaaghreswara as his disciple. That great person averred, "Vyaaghreswara, that dog which followed you is the personification of the merit earned by you in previous births. Goaded by time, you could come here. You could take bath in Urvashi Kunda. You are attracted towards the land of penance by Navanarayanas. All this is the grace of Sripad Shrivallabha." Vyaaghreswara Sarma bowed down and asked Gurudeva, "Who is Sripad Shrivallabha? How did his grace shower on me?" The Siddha replied at length to the questions posed to him. "My son, Sripad Shrivallabha is Lord Datta himself. In Treta Yuga, Bharadwaja Maharshi conducted a big sacrifice known as Savitra Kathaka Chayanamo in Pithapuram. He invited Shiva, Parvati for that function. In Pragyayam Brahmana text, it was mentioned that many great persons, siddhas and yogis, are born in the lineage of Bharadwaja in accordance with the boon granted by Shiva Parvati to him. Even though they were lost in other parts of the country, Pragyaya Brahmanam Sandra Sindhu Veda was carefully preserved in Shambhala village, the land of incarnation of Kalki. At the end of Kali Yuga and beginning of Satya Yuga, Sripad Shrivallabha, an incarnation of Sri Datta, arrives in Pithapuram in physical form. Only when the sins committed in many births get diminished and when good deeds start giving result, devotion to Datta will develop. When devotion to Datta becomes perfect, Sripad Shrivallabha will grant the wealth of sight, touch and speech in any age and at any time. As the meritorious deeds of your past lives are strong, the mercy of Sripad Shrivallabha showers on you. I am now leaving for meeting my preceptor, Mahavatar Babaji. I will return after 1 year. You practice Kriya Yoga in the caves reserved for you and attempt for the realization of self-knowledge. Thus instructing, the sage left for Dronagiri in the region Sanjeevani mountain. Vyaaghreswara Sarma also sat in the cave fixed for him. He could not understand the methods of Kriya Yoga or sayings, preachings, self-knowledge. He was thinking like this: Guruji used to call me lovingly as Vyaghra, the tiger. All my co-disciples are sitting on the skin of a tiger and are meditating. When the skin of a tiger is so sacred and benefits the yogi so much, how much great the tiger should be. Moreover, Guruji asked me to strive for knowledge of self. Self means myself only. What have I got to do with others? My name is Vyaaghreswara Udu. Therefore, myself should be a tiger only. So I have to meditate upon the tiger. That is my Atma. If I could get the form of a tiger, it amounts to my attaining self-knowledge. 1 year passed easily. The Guru visited the place. He went to each cave and observed the progress made by his disciples in their spiritual quest. He could not find Vyaaghreswara in his cave. Instead, a tiger was resting in the cave. Sri Guruji analyzed the matter through his yogic insight. He realized that as Vyaaghreswara meditated intensely upon the form of a tiger, when he was transformed into a tiger, Guruji felt happy at the pure heart and cleanliness of the self of his disciple. He blessed him and taught him to utter He asked him to constantly repeat the words Sripada Sharanam Prapadhe as a mantra. Vyaaghreswara reached Kuravapuram in the form of a tiger. To reach Kuravapuram, one has to cross a river. At that time, Sripada Shrivallabha was with the congregation of his devotees. He suddenly announced, "A great devotee of mine is calling me. I will go and immediately return." Saying so, he began walking on the water in his lustrous body. When Sripada Shrivallabha was walking on the water in this manner, a lotus flower was emerging from the water at every spot where he was placing his sacred foot. He arrived at the river bank on the other side and saw Vyaaghreswara, who was chanting incessantly the mantra Sripada Sharanam Prapadhe. Vyaaghreswara paid obeisance to the auspicious divine feet of Sripada Shrivallabha. Sripad Shrivallabha mounted on the tiger and crossed the river floating on the water on the back of the tiger. He reached Kuravapuram. All the people were witnessing the spectacle in utter astonishment. According to Datta Purana, Sri Dattatreya only incarnated as Dharmashasta. When the Lord took birth as the son of Harihara, he arrived at the capital of the kingdom riding on a tiger. Devendra took the form of that tiger and served as a vehicle for Ayyappa Swami or Dharmashasta. Some people were of the opinion that Shrivallabha was verily Dharmashasta himself. Goddess Amba rides both a lion and a tiger. So some people were of the opinion that Sripad Shrivallabha was an inseparable form of the universal mother goddess. The moment Shrivallabha dismounted from the tiger after reaching Kuravapuram, the tiger fell dead. A great person with divine brilliance came out of the body of the tiger. He prayed to Shrivallabha to use the skin of the tiger form of his previous birth as his seat. Sri Charana consented for that. With love overflowing, Shrivallabha said, "My son, Vyaaghreswara, in one of your births, you were a very strong wrestler. During that life, you were indulging in all sorts of cruel acts. Those activities include fighting with tigers, injuring them, capturing them, famishing them, and arranged their exhibitions for the recreation of people. On account of the past sinful acts, you are to take animal births in many lives. But with my grace, all that accumulated sin is cancelled in this life of a tiger. As you remained for a long time in the form of a tiger, you can assume at will that form any time. I am granting you this boon. You will meet and obtain the blessings of many siddhas who are carrying penance in Himalayas from hundreds of years. May you rise to great heights in the path of yoga. Sripada blessed Vyaaghreswara in the above manner. What Shankara Bhatt saw previously was actually that Vyaaghreswara Sarma as a tiger. He lives in the Himalayas. Great sages are averse to public contact. This man stands as a sentinel for such yogis and guards against disturbances from common folks. Great hermits have a system of transmitting ideas and news amongst themselves. They need not come out of their places or employ messengers for that purpose. However, for the sake of the sport, they employ Vyaaghreswara for exchange of news. All this was divine play of Lord Sri Datta. Digambara, Digambara, Sripad Shrivallabha Digambara.